What the far left does to get away, it's brilliant. We talked about this the other day, the death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep.
I think I don't know if I have it. I do actually have this this article. It's called Creeping Normalcy. Creeping Normality, sorry. And it's the psychological idea of death by 1,000 cuts, a process by which a major change can be accepted as normal and acceptable if it happens slowly through small, often unnoticeable increments of change. The change could otherwise be regarded as objectionable if it took place in a single step or short period.
So the eBay color.
Yes. Exactly. The
was
eBay
it creeping
color.
normality? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Creeping normality.
For those who don't know, eBay changed its colors and everyone freaked out. And then they switched it back right away, and then slowly over a year, right? Over a year.
They added like one shade of white.
One shade.
And
different.
no one noticed that a year later it was the whole website had changed color.
Yep.
So this is what the far left has done very effectively. And it's funny when like there's a post going around from, oh man, I got to sidetrack real quick. There's a dude I know that I worked with, and he was a normal journalist, regular guy, not overly political. And he was trying to find his path, and he found something interesting one day when he responded to Donald Trump on Twitter.
Oh, my.
He said something kind of not too crazy, and he got a ton of followers. And then he started doing it more and more.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he had 10,000 followers. And then I started talking to him about it, and I was like, bro, I think you should knock this off because these people aren't like real followers. You're not building a brand. You're actually becoming a laughingstock of the left and the right. Like you're gonna have no respect from people. You're gonna lose your job. And he was like, I'm gaining a ton of followers, man. Like people really like this. I was like, no, they don't.
Dopamine kicks.
Yeah, there are people on the right who started posting edgy memes, then started posting really offensive memes, but found that fringe group that kept cheering for them every time they would put something really, really edgy.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were just off the deep end and then banned outright because they went too far. The same thing happens on the left with like becoming a reply guy. And this person just goes off the deep end, slowly replying more and more, getting more followers until finally they have a horrifying nickname, no respect, their career is over, and they're literally just the butt of a joke.
Yep.
So I forgot what the point I was going to make is before I got wrapped up on that.
I knew you would.
Yeah, because I was like, I gotta mention this part because the reply guy thing really gets to me. You want people to smash the like button.
Do it.
That's all.
It's your punching
Smash
bag.
it. Smash it.
Smash it.
I love you.
But that's the career choice for some of these people, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. What were we talking about before I went off on that
I don't know.
tangent?
Biden.
Creeping normality.
Creeping normality.
Yeah.
So I was talking to, the reason I brought this guy up was because there's a meme by him and people share it.
Okay.
Because, he's a reply guy.
Yeah. Of course.
And basically I got into a conversation about whether or not there is a far left in this country.
Okay.
Of course there is. The Democratic Socialists of America have over 70,000 members by latest reported numbers.
Yeah.
These are people who hold their meetings where, have you seen the DSA video?
Which one?
The one where they're like, point of personal privilege. Hi, my name is Tim, he, him. I just want to point out that the chattering in this room is really triggering and I am tired of people. Have you seen that video?
No.
Oh,
I don't know if I want to. Though.
And then
I gotta watch it.
It's so funny because like the guy gets up and he goes, point of personal privilege. Could please keep the chatter to a minimum, guys, please. And then as soon as he says guys, you see someone get up and then go up to the microphone and go, stop using gendered language. That's actually what happened.
Wait. This isn't. I'm sorry. Wait. This wasn't like Saturday Night Live.
It's real.
It wasn't parody.
It's real.
Yeah, see,
it went viral. Everybody made fun of it.
Well,
but listen.
Not surprising. I mean, because it would something SNL would do to make fun of.
We got to talk about the effectiveness of the insidiousness of what the far left has been able to accomplish. What is far left in terms of the economic scale? Far left is cooperative. Far right is competitive.
Okay.
So if the further left you go in terms of cooperative markets, it's communism, and the further right you go in terms of competitive markets, it's laissez-faire capitalism. So if you had someone who said, I think we should have a mixed economy, that's what America is. We're a mixed economy.
Yeah.
A large portion of our income goes in taxes, but then we have money of our choosing to spend, and so you have a bit of a command economy, but sort of a free market.
Yeah.
We lean slightly to the right in terms of our market structure. So what would far left be? From where we're standing, you could argue that far left relative to here is like if we taxed people at 75% or 80%. That would be far left.
That's a lot.
If you want to talk about literal the farthest left you can go, it would be overt communism.
Yeah.
The
You don't even get paid. You just do your job and everyone gets the same amount of food, same amount of whatever.
Right. Well, I love these conversations I've had with people about this stuff. I actually got into it. I got into it with the British Socialist Party.
Oh goodness!
And boy, did it not work out well for them. Of course.
Yeah.
But so does the far left exist? Yes, there is a large group of people, 70,000 plus, not the biggest organization in the world, that advocate for abolishing capitalism outright. You can't go further left than that. That's it. On the economic scale, at least.
Right.
On the cultural scale, there is no real far. I'm sorry. There. No. On the economic scale, there's no far right.
Okay.
There's like Luke Rudkowski, I mentioned him earlier. There you go. You have a small group of like libertarian, like right-wing libertarian ANCAPs, but in terms of the major, large factions, not a particularly large group of right-wing, full-on laissez-faire capitalists relative to everything else. So what people call far right in this country is typically cultural far right, meaning traditionalist, and typically economically left. A lot of the people that have been called far right hold left-wing economic policy views. So they're basically posting these memes where they say there's no far left in this country. And then I say, well, certainly the DSA is far left, right? They propose abolishing profit. Like there's like they don't even know what profit means if they're going to say that.
Yeah.
They're basically trying to get rid of all monetary transactions, abolish capitalism, abolish police, abolish prisons, complete open borders, total globalization stuff. You can't get further left than these people.
No.
So yes, they literally exist. And there's a different question as to whether or not the left is more dangerous than the right. But I would say that the left is more effective in terms of their long-term strategy, which is psychological manipulation. Like
Ilhan Omar's speech.
Well,
emotional.
Yes. The one where
subtly mentioning that we need to take down everything.
But she did it in a clever way. So if those are not familiar, Ilhan Omar said that we need to dismantle systems of oppression.
Yeah.
And she said so long as the economic and political system of this country creates inequality, exists, it'll create inequality, and we must dismantle these systems of oppression wherever they exist. Something like that.
Yeah, basically.
So this is the clever this is a standard clever political tactic where if she came out right now and said, I would like to completely end capitalism and destroy the American government.
So
yeah.
People would be like,
would you call that creeping normality?
Yes.
That's
exactly the point.
Asking the question.
No. She wasn't asking the question.
Yeah.
She said it, but she made sure to say it in a way where she could have apologists defend her.
Right.
That's why I brought it up.
She didn't say
that.
destroy. She was saying oppression.
Right. But she also made a point that it was like it's not just the police systems.
It's politics. It's
and then
economics.
because she stated that, and then she's continued on saying it's not just that, it's all forms of oppression, no matter where they lie. And it's like, what do you mean by that? What exactly are you talking about?
Well, so here's what worries me a bit. There's no, as far as I can tell, legit far right with political power. It's just not a thing. They say, oh, but Donald Trump. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
He's a moderate. He's in the middle.
And the worst things about him you can criticize, but it's not policy. It's his behavior, it's his attitude and stuff like
tact,
that.
Right.
But if we're going to go based on not our personal standards, I defer to Vox.com. Matthew Iglesias saying Trump was a moderate. And you look at the New York Times scale and it says the Republicans are center right, not far right.
Yep.
So here's what the left does. It's very clever. They have allies in media. They seed fake news. They create as many lies as possible to smear and defame you. And they all keep saying the lie over and over and over again. It works. So there are a few people that I'm friends with that I would consider progressive or leftist. Whenever I try and have a conversation publicly on like a Facebook comment, all of a sudden these far leftists will immediately jam up the entire conversation so everyone leaves. They make sure no one can talk.
Yep.
They start saying nonsensical things, name calling, they screech, they make threats. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, I'm out. I'm out.
You want to know what I was told today? I tweeted this out earlier. Here, let me read it. I was blown away. I mean, I've referenced this conversation, this thread that I've had. It all started from me just saying, Happy July 4th to all my fellow Americans. I know we're not perfect, but 244 years ago, we laid the groundwork to fix anything that needs fixing, basically.
Yeah. To live free.
To live free. And people just started freaking out and attacking me, which led to this one particular person said this to me, said, let us lead. Let us tell you what we need without you having a dissenting opinion or arguing with us, period. Just listen to us without speaking for once. Amplify our voices and do what we are telling you we need you to do. Period.
Well, that's the superliminal, to quote The Simpsons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys know the Simpsons reference, but it's that episode where Bart is in that boy band and they're singing Ivan et Niage, which is join the Navy backwards.
Right.
Not a very particularly hidden message. And then when Lisa finds out, she talks to like the band manager, who's actually a recruiter, who's like, we have 3 strategies: subliminal, liminal, and superliminal. And then she's like, superliminal, and he goes, yes. And then he opens a window and yells to Lenny and Carl, hey, you, join the Navy. And they're like, okay. And then like later you see them getting on the bus, like joining the Navy or something like that.
Yeah.
But that like what they're telling you right there is overt. They're
Right.
telling you to your face. They're telling you we've taken the ground, and we
Yep.
can pull the mask off and just tell you outright, you are to be subjugated by us.
That's what
you
I'm
will
saying.
do as you're told.
It's like, no way.
But so how do they get other people to support them and stand behind their calls to action? These are the tactics used by the far left to suppress cancel culture, for one. We will destroy your job. I actually had a guy threaten to call my employer today, and it was like, I'm not kidding.
That's amazing.
You just give him
And
the number.
I was like, do you know anything about me?
Do you realize who I am?
So listen, I got into I had a really great conversation actually with on a Facebook post with somebody I know. We've had a lot of great conversations.
Mm-hmm.
This person's rather progressive, and then sometimes we'll take it to like a private messenger, and I'll be like, that was a really great point. I appreciate your time, and
Yeah.
then we're like, have a nice day. So I made a comment about the far left being legit, a real threat, the things they've asked for, and somebody responded who was extremely out of his mind, and so I just ignored it. Another guy responded, made some really good points about the existence of the far left and the far right, pointing out the Democratic Party right now, and for a long time has never been ideological.
Okay.
And the conservatives, the Republican Party, has actually been ideological for a long time, meaning that the Republican Party has conservatives. They rally around their ideologies, their view of America, their beliefs.
Traditional.
And to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But typically it's basically like this idea of America first, Trumpism, they're unified. The Democrats are a loose coalition of random groups that kind of just agree to vote certain ways if it benefits them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's actually a good point. If you look at the Hidden Tribes report, you'll see that conservatives are 25% of this country, progressives are 8%. And then most people who vote Democrat are exhausted majority, they say, or default or uninitiated.
Okay.
The average person voting Democrat isn't really active or paying attention. And so what they argued was...
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
They argued that
I was.
now that the Democratic Party has found an ideology, it's starting to grow and become more visible. And I'm like, it didn't completely disagree with the point I was making, but it made it, this individual made a good point. We had a great conversation.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's actually really, really smart. Showed me data and everything. And I'm like, I completely agree.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting point about the Democratic Party coming from the Civil War and how they've always voted for what was considered to be more progressive, regardless of what progressive meant. At a certain point, progressive meant eugenics in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So the Republican Party, based on this graph that was sent to me by a political researcher, this guy was a researcher, really fascinating. The Republican Party has always been slightly conservative. Always. But the definition of conservative changes. They've just stayed true to, like, in terms of the relative society,
Yeah.
the Democrats fluctuate like crazy and the Republicans kind of stay where they are.
Okay.
So even to this day, they are not far right. They've never been far right. They've always been fairly, moderate.
Yeah.
And we see that we see that data presented by Pew Research, for instance. But anyway, this other guy, man.
Oh yeah. Tell
He's
me about
like,
it.
you will be first against the wall.
Wow.
Wait,
This again.
wait until it happens, blah, blah, blah. And then out of nowhere, he's like, and he's like, you should be afraid, and I'm going to call your employers. I said, I'm going to call the people who employ you. And I was like, there it is. This guy doesn't know who I am at all.
Cancel culture. I'm coming after you, Tim.
That was
Try
a
that
threat.
with me.
Listen.
Try to call my employer. Get me
Right.
canceled.
This is the point.
Good luck.
This is the point I'm making about the far left and their tactics.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is real. They know it's real, and they know they can go to the average person and say, I'm going to call your boss, and they'll get scared.
Yep.
And they'll be like, no, please.
And that's why all the polls say Biden's winning.
Perhaps.
Because everyone's like, yeah, I'm voting for Biden. Click.
I loved it though. I was like, who employs me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I wish someone would try that with me.
You call me?
I'd be like, here you go. Here's his number.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Call
give out
him.
your number. but-
You know what I would do if someone tried canceling you or Lydia or anybody?
Yeah,
What?
totally.
Tell us,
Yeah,
please.
I insist.
You'd smash the like button?
No.
Here you go. We got.
I would
No?
respond
Oh.
by saying, sir or madam, I take these concerns very seriously. I am shocked that those words would come out of Adam's mouth, and he never told me I'm going to give him a raise. I'm really impressed with what he was saying.
I hear a raise.
Didn't Cassandra get a raise for from her paper?
Oh, yeah.
She did, yeah.
So for those that don't know, Cassandra Fairbanks works for Gateway Pundit, but she also has her own paper. And like someone threatened to cancel her.
They hit up the paper.
Yeah, they
were bombarding her paper.
Her own
Cancel Cassandra.
And she responded from her corporate like account saying, you know, we're shocked and appalled by this. We're absolutely going to take action immediately by giving her a raise and a bunch of exclamation points.
Genius.
Yeah, but here's the point I'm making, right? They know, like we mentioned, creeping normality.
Yeah.
The far left knows they can threaten you with violence, and you can do anything. Here's what they do. They don't say something like, I will hurt you.
Right.
What they say is, next time I see you, you should be very worried about the people who and you know what they'll do to you. They make sure they don't cross the line to making an overt threat.
Yeah, it's an indirect threat,
but
basically.
they want you to feel threatened.
Right.
And actually, this person may have broken the law because of the jurisdiction they're in. But then they do things like cancel culture. Hey, I'm also going to call your boss. What am I supposed to say to that? Even if I had a job, let's say I worked at McDonald's, am I going to be like, oh no, I'm so sorry, I agree with you now.
Right.
I will delete my posts. Like, what do they think is going to happen? But it shows that they really do view this low tier terrorism as an effective tool. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, cancel culture.
We're
it's their new machine gun.
We are at a point now where they know you can't call their boss because they won't do anything.
Yeah.
Like the easiest example, you got a video of a dude walking with a 6-year-old daughter in New York City.
Terrible video.
Shot, killed. No riots, no protests, no brand message.
Nope.
No flags, no Facebook, nothing. Because if it doesn't fit their institutional control, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that really pisses me off. That video tears me apart. That tore me up watching that video.
Yeah, it's messed up. So here's what happens. If you are not in league with their ideology, and if I were to call this guy's boss and say he's threatening me, they're going to be like, I don't care.
You know, I told someone about that. I was making these. I was having a private conversation with somebody from this thread, you know, who is a closer friend of mine, talking about these things that are happening, and he didn't believe it. Where did you get your information from?
Yeah,
I saw the video with my own eyes. Oh, on YouTube? Oh, you saw it on YouTube? Well, YouTube isn't a credible source. It's more of a social media platform. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I saw the video. I watched the girl run away.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? How is that not like something that actually happened? How? Explain to me why you're not in outrage right now.
Because
change can happen.
They want to hear from some woke journalist that it happened.
Yeah.
And they'll believe it.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what happens. If I call this guy's boss and say he's threatening me, they're going to be like, I'm sorry about that, but what do you want us to do about it? If he calls, you know, like a theater worker's boss, for instance, and says they were, you know, saying all these things, you know, the theater is going to be like, we're so sorry, we'll fire them immediately. Because people know what you're allowed to criticize and what you're not allowed to criticize. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.